The pen trembles in my hand as I sign the licensing agreement. $55 million. 7 years of grease-stained evenings in the garage. 7 years of Gabrielle rolling her eyes when I'd miss dinner again. 7 years of her calling my water filtration system a midlife crisis hobby. The Aquatech global executives shake my hand with practiced corporate warmth. Their smile's worth more than my old Honda. 3 days. 3 goddamn days of walking on air, planning how to surprise Gabrielle with the news. Maybe we'd finally take that trip to Tuscany she'd been mentioning. Maybe I'd upgrade her engagement ring, like she'd been hinting. The divorce papers arrive by courier while I'm still savoring my morning coffee. My hands shake worse than when I signed the contract. Gabrielle's signature sprawls across the bottom of the petition, demanding half of everything, half of my life's work, half of the system that could bring clean water to millions of people who've never had it. She emerges from the kitchen, hair perfectly styled despite the early hour. No surprise in her eyes. No guilt. Just a cold calculation I should have recognized years ago. Gabby, what is this? Don't call me that. Her voice carries the same dismissive tone she used when describing my project to her book club friends. My attorney says we can keep this civil if you cooperate. The papers crinkle in my grip. She's been planning this. Waiting. Watching my bank account like a hawk circles roadkill. 7 years. I whisper. 7 years you called a hobby. Because it was... She adjusts her bracelet with manicured fingers. Until 3 days ago. The timing slams into me like a physical blow. She waited. Watched me struggle through prototype after prototype. Failure after failure. While she bad-mouthed my work to anyone who'd listen. The second success arrived. She pounced. You think you know everything about our finances. I set the papers down carefully, fighting the urge to tear them apart. You might be surprised. Her laugh sounds like breaking glass. Preston, I handle our taxes. I pay our bills. I know every account, every investment, every penny you've squirreled away. The confidence in her voice would have crushed me 2 years ago, before I overheard her on the patio, before I learned what she really thought of me. Do you? Something flickers across her face. Uncertainty. Good. She recovers quickly, smoothing her expression into the mask she wears for her consulting clients. My attorney will be in touch about discovery. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The front door clicks shut behind her with surgical precision. No slamming. No drama. Even her exits are calculated for maximum psychological impact. I pour another cup of coffee with steady hands and smile for the first time in 3 days. She thinks she's been planning this betrayal for weeks. I've been preparing for it for 2 years. The water filtration system hums in the garage, purifying, cleaning, removing all the toxic elements that don't belong. Some things require patience. Some things require time. Some things require letting your enemy believe they've already won. 2 years earlier, the 17th prototype sits dismantled across my workbench like the skeleton of a failed dream. Metal components catch the harsh fluorescent light, each piece representing another sleepless night, another missed dinner, another eye roll from Gabrielle. My throat burns with thirst. The garage feels like an oven in the August heat, and sweat drips onto the circuit boards I've been soldering for 6 hours straight. The house calls to me with promises of cold water and air conditioning. I wipe my hands on a greasy rag and push through the door connecting the garage to our kitchen. The central air hits my skin like a benediction. Ice cubes clink against glass as I fill a tumbler from the refrigerator dispenser. Laughter drifts through the sliding doors leading to our back patio. Gabrielle's voice rises above the others, animated and bright in a way she never sounds when talking to me anymore. Honestly, Sienna, it's like living with a teenager who discovered science fairs. More laughter erupts from her audience. He's out there every night, tinkering with pipes and filters like he's going to save the world. My hand freezes on the glass. The condensation drips between my fingers. What does he even think he's doing? This voice belongs to Monica, Gabrielle's book club friend, who always looks at me like I'm tracking mud through her living room. Oh, he wants to bring clean water to poor communities. Gabrielle's tone drips with condescension. Very noble, very adolescent. Meanwhile, my consulting income keeps this house running, keeps the lights on, keeps food on our table. The water turns to sand in my mouth. How long has this been going on? Sienna asks. 7 years. 7 years of this midlife crisis masquerading as humanitarian work. Gabrielle's wine glass clinks against the patio table. I've been patient. God knows I've been patient. But if he doesn't snap out of this fantasy by next summer, we're going to have some serious conversations. You could always give him an ultimatum, Monica suggests. My ex-husband had a similar phase with his band. Sometimes men need firm boundaries. Oh, I'm considering it. This whole garage laboratory thing has gone from charming quirk to genuine embarrassment. Last week at the Hendersons' party, someone asked what Preston does for work. What am I supposed to say? That he plays with water pipes. The laughter that follows cuts through me like broken glass. 7 years. 7 years of believing she supported my work, even if she didn't understand it. 7 years of thinking her silence meant acceptance, not judgment. I set the glass down on the kitchen counter with deliberate care. My reflection stares back from the microwave door, and I barely recognize a man looking back. When did I become someone worth mocking? When did my life's work become a punchline for wine-soaked patio conversations? The prototype in the garage suddenly feels different, not like failure anymore, like ammunition. I retreat to my laptop in the den, away from the continuing chorus of feminine derision. My fingers move across the keyboard with new purpose. Asset protection, intellectual property law, business and corporation in Delaware. The search results paint a roadmap I never thought I'd need to follow. By midnight, I've read everything I can find about protecting assets from divorce proceedings. By 1 a.m, I'm dialing my brother Winston in Oregon. Preston? It's past midnight there. Everything okay? I need your help, Win. And I need you not to ask questions until I can explain everything. Silence stretches across the country between us. What do you need? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Like the first move in a chess game I never want to play, but suddenly understand I've been losing for 7 years. I need to disappear some money. Legally. And I need to do it without my wife finding out. Rita Blackwood's office smells like leather and ambition. Law books line the walls from floor to ceiling, their spines promising protection for those smart enough to seek it. She slides a business card across her mahogany desk with fingers that have signed more prenups than wedding invitations. Intellectual property protection. She says, studying the folder I brought. Interesting timing, Mr. Rafferty. Most people think about this before they get married, not after. Her gray eyes miss nothing. The wedding ring I still wear. The circles under my eyes from sleepless nights in the garage. The way my hands shake slightly when I mention Gabrielle. Better late than never. I lean forward in the chair that probably cost more than my first car. Can it be done? Everything can be done if you're willing to pay for it and follow the rules. She opened the legal pad, her pen poised like a scalpel. Delaware Corporation. Family trust with an out-of-state trustee. Proper documentation and dating of all intellectual property transfers. The next 3 weeks blur together in a haze of paperwork and careful choreography. Cascade Water Systems incorporates in Delaware on a Tuesday morning, while Gabrielle attends her yoga class. Winston drives down from Oregon to sign trust documents in a coffee shop near the state line, his weathered hand steady as he becomes the legal guardian of my life's work. Every transaction gets backdated legally, every patent filing meticulously documented. On paper, I become what I've always been in Gabrielle's eyes, a consultant, a technician, someone who fixes things for other people's companies. The irony tastes bitter. I redirect my consulting income to the LLC I've quietly established, watching our joint accounts slowly drain while my business accounts flourish in their parallel universe. Gabrielle notices nothing. She's too busy spending money on her spiritual retreats with Brett, her life coach who charges $300 an hour to tell wealthy women their chakras need alignment. You seem lighter lately, she mentions one evening, glancing up from her phone where she's scrolling through Brett's inspirational quotes. more focus. The comment hits me like ice water, lighter, as if shedding illusions about our marriage has somehow freed me from gravity. The prototype is coming along. I keep my voice neutral, the way I've learned to speak around her, making real progress. She hums non-committally and returns to her screen. Brett's latest post features a sunset over Sedona with text about releasing toxic energy. The irony writes itself. I retreat to the garage where my 18th prototype hums with promise. Every component now belongs to Cascade Water Systems. Every improvement gets documented and filed through proper legal channels. What started as a husband hobby has transformed into a legitimate business entity with tax numbers and corporate bylaws and protection that runs deeper than wedding vows. Rita calls on a Friday afternoon with updates. Everything's in place. Your intellectual property is completely separate from marital assets. The trust structure is bulletproof, and the corporate formation predates any potential filing by 18 months. What about the house? The cars? Those remain marital property, unless you want to get more aggressive. But your technology, your business, your future licensing deals, completely protected. I stare at the wall where my certificates hang. 7 years of work, finally armored against a woman who shared my bed while planning my destruction. Mr. Rafferty, you still there? Yeah. I close my eyes and smile for the second time in months. I'm here. Outside, Gabrielle's car pulls into the driveway. She's returning from another session with Brett, probably glowing with newfound wisdom about self-actualization and personal truth. She has no idea how much truth is about to find her. Gabrielle's Instagram feed transforms into a celebration of liberation. Professional photos appear daily. Her laughing and flowing scarves, arms raised toward manufactured sunsets, captions about embracing authentic truth, and releasing limiting partnerships. The photographer she hired costs more than most people's monthly rent. Douglas Finch arrives at our mediation like a shark in an expensive suit. His smile never reaches his eyes as he slides documents across the conference table with surgical precision. Mrs. Rafferty deserves 60% of all marital assets, he announces, adjusting his gold cufflinks. Given her contributions to household stability and Mr. Rafferty's experimental ventures, the words hit my chest like a sledgehammer. 60%. Not half. Not the 50-50 split California law mandates. 60%. Because Gabrielle's attorney smells blood in the water and thinks I'm too broken to fight back. Pain explodes across my left arm. The conference room tilts sideways, and suddenly I'm on the floor, gasping for air that refuses to fill my lungs. Rita's voice sounds like she's speaking through water. Someone calls 911. Gabrielle stands frozen in the corner, her face a mass of calculation rather than concern. The hospital keeps me for 3 days. Stress-induced cardiac event, they call it. Warning shot across the bow of a heart that's taken too much betrayal. Gabrielle visits once, bringing magazines and hollow sympathy. Douglas thinks we should expedite the proceedings, she mentions while adjusting the flowers she brought. Given your health situation, no need to drag this out unnecessarily. Her concern feels rehearsed, like dialogue from a play she's been practicing. I nod weakly and watch her leave, already planning her next Instagram post about supporting family through difficult times. But stress has a way of sharpening focus. Pain clarifies priorities. The hidden cameras I installed in my home office 2 weeks ago prove their worth on a Thursday evening. Motion alerts ping my phone while I'm supposed to be sleeping off medication. Gabrielle moves to my study like a professional burglar, trying lock combinations on my desk drawers with systematic patience. She photographs documents with her phone, her face illuminated by the screen's glow. Financial statements, bank records, business correspondence. Everything she thinks might reveal hidden assets. The locked filing cabinet defeats her manicured fingernails, but not for lack of trying. She attacks the locks with bobby pins and credit cards, frustration growing with each failed attempt. The woman who called my work a hobby now searches desperately for evidence of its value. I watch from my hospital bed as my wife of 15 years transforms into a stranger. No wedding ring, no hesitation, no guilt about violating the privacy of a man recovering from cardiac trauma. The bills start arriving 2 weeks later. Gabrielle has borrowed $20,000 from her book club friends. The country club membership we've maintained for 8 years gets canceled for non-payment. Her consulting clients begin requesting meetings to discuss billing irregularities. Sienna and Monica stop returning her calls. Her father visits me while Gabrielle attends another session with Brett. Frank Morrison sits in my living room like a man attending a funeral, his weathered hands clasped tightly in his lap. "She's broke, isn't she?" His voice carries the weight of a father watching his daughter self-destruct. The divorce attorney, the lifestyle coach, the photographers. She's spending money she doesn't have. I pour him coffee with hands steadier than they've been in weeks. I wouldn't know Frank. Gabrielle handles our finances. His laugh sounds hollow. Not anymore. She doesn't. Through the kitchen window, I watch Gabrielle's car pull into the driveway. She emerges with shopping bags from stores she can no longer afford, playing the role of successful divorcee for an audience that has stopped watching. The performance is almost over. The courtroom smells like old wood and broken promises. Judge Patricia Hernandez peers over her reading glasses with the weary expression of someone who has witnessed too many marriages dissolve into warfare. Gabrielle sits beside Douglas Finch, her designer suit armor against the reality closing in around her. Rita rises from our table with the confidence of someone holding royal flush. Her briefcase opens with a soft click that echoes through the silent courtroom like a gunshot. "Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence regarding the separate property nature of Cascade Water Systems." The corporate documents spread across the table like a roadmap to salvation. Articles of incorporation dated 18 months before Gabrielle filed for divorce. Patent applications with timestamps that predate our separation by years. Trust documents bearing Winston's signature and the official seal of Oregon State Notary. Gabrielle's face drains of color as Rita methodically destroys every assumption her legal team has built their case upon. Douglas Finch shuffles through papers with increasingly frantic movements, searching for weapons in an arsenal that has suddenly gone empty. "The defendant has instructed an elaborate scheme," he protests, his voice cracking like thin ice. "These corporate structures are clearly designed to defraud my client of her rightful share." Judge Hernandez examines the documentation with surgical precision, every form properly filed, every date legally documented, every transfer of intellectual property executed according to California corporate law. "Mr. Finch, these documents appear to be in perfect order. The corporation was established well before any divorce proceedings, and Mr. Rafferty's intellectual property was transferred through proper legal channels." Her gavel hovers like an executioner's axe. The court recognizes Cascade Water Systems as separate property, distinct from marital assets. The sound Gabrielle makes resembles a wounded animal. Her carefully constructed world crumbles in real time. Each legal precedent Rita cites another nail in the coffin of her financial dreams. Mrs. Rafferty will receive the lake house, valued at $480,000, plus her personal vehicle. The judge continues. All other assets remain with their The non-disclosure agreement and release of claims document lands on the table between us with finality. Gabrielle's signature shakes across the page like a seismograph recording an earthquake. 8 months later, I stand before 300 water industry professionals at the Global Innovation Conference in Geneva. The presentation slides behind me show villages in Kenya, Guatemala, and Bangladesh where clean water flows from systems bearing the Cascade logo. 400,000 people now have access to safe drinking water. I tell the audience. 9 countries, 12 humanitarian organizations. And we're just getting started. The applause thunders through Convention Center. But the moment that matters happens later, over dinner with my son Oliver. He's 23 now, working for an environmental nonprofit, his eyes bright with the idealism I thought Gabrielle had murdered in me. "I'm proud of you, Dad." He raises his wine glass in a toast, not just for the business success, but for doing something that actually matters. My phone buzzes with a message from Rita. 3 universities want to license my filtration technology for 8-figure partnerships. The numbers scroll across the screen like a slot machine hitting jackpot. But the real victory sits across from me. sharing stories about his work with urban reforestation projects. Oliver never doubted my work, never called it a hobby, never questioned whether changing the world was worth the effort. Gabrielle posts occasionally on social media from her lake house. Smaller gatherings now, fewer followers. The spiritual retreats with Brett have ended, replaced by online meditation apps and discount yoga classes. I deleted her from my feeds months ago. The past deserves to stay buried. Tonight, I'll return to my workshop, where prototype number 19 waits for tomorrow's improvements. Some dreams survive betrayal. Some purposes transcend the people who try to destroy them. Clean water flows where it's needed most. The rest is just noise.